Welcome to AI Rounds, your weekly dose of AI in medicine and education.
We are your hosts, Dr. Nuria Negrão
and Dr. Morgan Leaf. Each week, we'll bring you a quick dive into the latest in artificial intelligence and how it's transforming healthcare, medical education, and medical communications.
From the tools changing how we teach, learn, and write, to breakthroughs shaping patient care. If it's new, exciting, or just plain useful, we're talking about it.
In just 10 to 15 minutes, we'll get you up to speed and maybe even spark your next big idea.
Let's make the rounds.
Hey, Nuria, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing? I'm full of energy today.
You are. I'm glad to hear that because as people can tell, it's a little later in your neck of the woods than it is in mine. So good for you for being full of
Yes.
energy so late in the day there.
Yes, it is. Let me check. 4:46 p.m., so almost 5 p.m.
Yeah, almost dinner time there. We're still in the middle
Yeah.
of the afternoon here in California.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I'm excited to talk to you about this topic. I came across this article in the Harvard Business Review
Mhm.
titled AI Doesn't Reduce Work, It Intensifies It. And it's a review of some research that's being done on this topic.
Mhm.
And, this is more in the corporate world, but I think the messages really reverberate with our industry as well. And what they found in their research, this team, is that basically AI was making people really more efficient at work and also kind of giving them the skills to do things that they previously needed other people to do. So they might have started writing their own code, even though they work with programmers who used to write code for them. And so they were doing things more quickly, but they were expanding the scope of their roles completely voluntarily. Their bosses were not asking them to do this,
Yeah.
but it just became habit to use that extra time to do something new or to do something they didn't previously do just because they can. And it kind of changed the dynamics on the
Mhm.
team. I would say they argue not for the better. So what's your take on this phenomenon of making work more intense rather than reducing it?
I can totally see how that can happen. I feel like I've experienced some of it myself. So the first thing is like a lot, we've heard other studies also say that you don't actually get any efficiency gains, right? And I'm like, I also can relate. And I think that these two are actually more related than what people think. With AI, you're doing things in a different way, right? So in the beginning, you're going to be experimenting a lot. So it might actually take you longer to get to the finished product because you spend so much time experimenting and tinkering and coming to a workflow that actually works for you. So I think that that's very normal. That happens. It's part of the learning curve. To give you an example, when I wrote my first project in college, I said to myself, I don't have time to learn how to use EndNote. I will just do the references myself by hand because I only have so many hours and I need to do this and I don't have time to learn. So was I right? I don't know, but but maybe I was like trying to find because to use any reference manager, and I mean this was in the early 2000s. Maybe now the process is a little bit less cumbersome, but the process was cumbersome. You needed to figure out like how to use a note, how to search, how to find every single reference, and that takes time. Like little tricks that I learned later on. For example, to use the PubMed ID to find a reference I didn't know. So I was like putting name of author or like some words from the title, and that is a not a time like that's a time intensive way of using EndNote. Let's put it like that. So I think that this can be true. Having said that, the moment you like actually get a workflow that actually saves you some time, then like at the end, like you have this free time that you gained. And our first instinct is not to, okay, let me go rest. Our first instinct is actually, okay, what's the next thing I need to do? You know? and you could use it to do more work, which would be the a normal thing that we all do is when I finish task 1, I go to task 2 and then to task 3. Or you could be, oh my God, I really am loving using AI. Let me try and learn this other thing that it can do. So I can see how it can multiply your expectations for yourself, which has happened to me. Like I made a joke at the Alliance that this thing has made me so much more productive and efficient, and I'm still burnt out. And it
Right.
was half a joke, but half real too. Like I feel like I am trying to balance it and trying not to get burnt out. But it is true that I'm way more ambitious about what I can achieve in a certain amount of time than I used to be before. Because I'm like, oh yeah, I can just get AI to do this part, and then I'll do this part, and let's get this going. You know?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and one you speak to this, so one phenomenon they talk about in the article, and this is, full-time employees, not freelancers like us,
Yeah.
is if you're doing complicated search that you know is gonna take a few minutes, that people are putting that in the search bar
Hmm.
before they go take a break or while they think they're taking a break. And so maybe that's your break time to have your snack, and you put this search in the chat box,
Hmm.
and what would have been your quiet time to take a break now is the AI doing its work because you're like, well, this isn't work for me. I'm just letting it do the work.
Yeah.
But you're a part of that too.
Yeah.
And so what you've really done is taken away your break time with
Yeah.
this, kind of multitasking. So, I mean, the
All the
lesson
time.
there
I do
is like,
something like that all the time.
I was just gonna say, the lesson is to take your breaks still, no matter what you're doing. Don't
Yes.
multitask a break.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, so before I turn off, it's like before I go away, let me just give Claude or whatever, let me just give it these like 2 or 3 tasks to do, and then I'll go away. And but then it means that I need to come back to see did it do a good job.
Right,
So like for example, at the end of the day, I'll do this. I'm like, okay, but if it can run, while I'm doing something else, but then I have the curiosity at least to come and see did it do a good job. And if it didn't, like I'm then have the inkling to like go and okay, like you didn't do a good job and this like let's redirect here type of thing.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. You
Yeah.
assume it's gonna be a quick task, but then sometimes it isn't, and so you're just
Yeah.
adding to your workload. Yeah,
100%.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, like, I just wanna say this too for anyone who needs to hear it. If you are a full-time employee, just stop adding tasks to your job. Like, don't. Like, just don't.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
not paying you extra. Capitalism is still stripping you dry. Like, don't do the coding and also because if you're doing the coding, you're probably not doing it as well, even though you think you are, you're not doing it
Hmm.
as well as the programmers. And then the programmers in this article are saying, "My job used to be doing the coding from scratch, and now my job is fixing the crappy coding that other people have done."
Yeah, that's
So,
yeah.
when you work in a team like that, you have an impact in that way. And so have to think about what you're doing, why you're doing it, and do
Hmm.
you need to be doing just because you can, should you, right?
Yeah. Yeah. There's a thing that people used to say to me growing up in Mozambique, and then I say a lot, which is that work never ends. There's always more work. And I said it the other day to someone else, and they interpret it a little bit different. They're like, no, but with freelancers, you have like the feast or famine type of cycle. So sometimes work ends. And that is not what I meant because I meant just as a freelancer, yes, maybe I don't have client work, but work never ends in the sense that then I have reaching out work, I have marketing work. I have like,
Right,
let's think of a different way to make money work. If you're creative, I guess, about it, there's always more work to come. So, it's interesting because like from the beginning, I've been saying use AI to make your life better. And I've been explicitly saying that we should use AI to these efficiency gains to tackle this culture of overwork that we all live under.
right.
And then I find myself not using it that way, which brings me back to my new hammering point that I've
Okay.
been, which is we need to be more deliberate. We need to really think through things and be more deliberate in how we plan these new workflows with AI so that we plan in more break time, and we plan in, yeah. So how do we get some of these efficiency gains? How do we buy back time for ourselves? So maybe I should plan like one afternoon. What do you think? Do you think I will be brave enough? Like Friday afternoon, I don't work, for example.
I think that's a great idea. I think you should do something like
Hmm. Yeah.
or, it doesn't have to be the same day every week, but yeah,
Yeah.
no, absolutely. That's the beauty of being a freelancer
Exactly.
is being able to do that and
Hmm.
yeah, say this is me and you can even document
Hmm.
all your processes that have saved you X amount of time
Yeah.
so that you know. But you're right, the work never ends, especially for freelancers
Yeah.
because the lines are completely blurred between
Yes.
home and work and building the business and working the business and
Hmm.
all of that. So
Yeah.
it's just a general reminder not to give up all your time to work,
Yeah.
but especially when you have this gift of
Hmm.
AI that can make it more efficient in many ways.
Yeah.
Take that.
Yeah. And how are you thinking about, have you thought about like any ideas of how you're going to be more deliberate about not letting AI increase your overwhelm?
I would say in the ways I use AI right now, I
Hmm.
don't get much in efficiency gains from it. I get quality gains. So I
Okay.
don't feel like I have yet given into this phenomenon. I relate to it because I felt that way when I took on subcontractors.
Okay.
Okay, I'm taking on subcontractors. They're going to do a lot of the work now. I'm just gonna handle the client interactions,
Hmm.
and so my life is gonna be easier. But because there was more work coming in, there were more client interactions, more meetings, more emails, more invoicing, that I didn't feel like anything had gotten easier by taking on subcontractors because that side of things multiplied. So I do
Yeah.
relate to this concept,
Hmm.
but it hasn't quite hit me in that way yet because I mainly use it as an editing tool. So I'm
Uh-huh.
still doing the writing the same way I always have. And that's that. It helps me a lot in my resume and LinkedIn business. And
Hmm.
the way that plays out is that I wait until the last minute to do the projects, and the last minute is now the day before instead
Yeah.
of 2 days before.
Okay. Fair.
So, but I'm
Yeah.
probably not working less because of it.
Hmm. Yeah.
So,
No, no,
but
that is fair. And that particular thing, like waiting more time, like the procrastinating more, I also feel that. Like I
yeah.
start projects later than what I used to
Yeah.
because I know that I can do them faster.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Well, it's food for thought because
Yeah.
this is here to stay, whether you're employed or a freelancer. And
Hmm.
so this is our motherly advice of take a break. Marianne Morgan say take a break.
Yes, I give the exact same advice, and I'm gonna try and follow my own advice and try and book every Friday off. If I put it on my calendar that I'm not working, usually that works. So I can
Good.
try that
Do
out of
it.
the office.
All right. I'm just checking to make sure you're doing it.
All right.
All right.
Okay. Very nice to see you.
You too, Naria. Take care.
Take care.
Bye.